Hello, this is Bridget with Divine Essentials. Okay, guys, so here I am. I skipped yesterday. I had a really bad day. I was bawling my eyes out. I almost left work early because of how much pain I was in with my knees. I originally had my left knee hurt, and then now it's both because I hit my right knee like halfway through whatever. And yesterday, and today, it's like they're hurt right now, but the intensity varies. So I'm sure they will get better once the bruising and everything goes away. And luckily, I don't have to work again till Sunday, so that should give me enough time to recoup. And I just finished making candles and sprays and a roll-on. And I got paid tonight, which was awesome sauce, $721, which had the 27 number in there. And last week was only 27 hours, or the last check was for only 27 hours. This check was $721. I've been seeing 27 or 72 nonstop. And then just a few minutes ago, on the 2nd, 1:11 a.m., I saw that I had 22 notifications on the 2nd with 1:11 a.m. And those have just been nonstop anyways, but we're doing the CPTSD book, and while doing things like this, like when you're exhausted or you're physically drained or in pain, you can become more emotional. Yesterday was Halloween, and driving around, it was so frustrating because tons of people are out where I was. It's like kind of like a city area, and there was truck driver, trash delivery people, or not delivery, removal, okay? But they're in front of me, and they're taking up the whole street, and they're just like zigzagging to these houses and going so slow, and I'm like, dude, I gotta deliver packages, and that doesn't require me staying on this street for 5 days, you know what I mean? And then there was other things that I kept getting stuck behind people, right? And then finally at the end of my thing, I finished it, right? And there was one bag in there, which happens sometimes, and I'm like, I scan it, and it's like, oh, it's only 10 minutes away, okay, I'll go deliver it. At this time, every person in the town was outside. And every person in the town was gathered in this one little area that I needed to go through to deliver this one package. And I wanted to run them all over because it was just madness. Like, I get being nice to pedestrians. I get that. But not at the cost of the other people in the world that are driving. Like, just because you guys are massive amounts of you that doesn't mean that we should have massive amounts of traffic now. Like, literally, I'm not kidding. Just groups. Like, groups of 20 people all huddled together going through the streets. And so, like, there was 2 cars in front of me. I kid you not, it took 10 minutes for one car to get through the little intersection that was just 4 stop signs. There's no lights involved in it. It's just them being like and then like 20 of them would go together, and then a straggler would go and mess it up, right? So then you don't get to go, and then here's another 20 of them, and I was like, ah! I was so upset. And then finally get out of there, and I gotta go to the hills to find the place that somebody probably couldn't find, and that's why I had to deliver it. And then I got to go home. But oh my god, it was such a frustrating, long ass day. I cried many times. So we're gonna talk about attachment theory and CPTSD, but I wasn't in the mood to do this. I actually came home and passed out with my phone and everything. It wasn't even charged when I woke up this morning. It was like, exhausted and in pain. So, attachment theory and CPTSD. Attachment theory describes how young children respond when they're separated from their primary caregiver. Attachment is defined as an emotional bond between 2 people, initially a caregiver and an infant, which provides a foundation for healthy relationships later in life. Secure attachment forms when we can depend on a safe, predictable, attuned, and loving caregiver during infancy and early childhood. When caregivers are attuned, they are able to read the cues that signal a child's needs. Sometimes an infant's cry is hard to understand. Is the baby hungry, tired, or simply needing to be held? Importantly, parenting does not need to be perfect. It never is. Good enough caregivers will inevitably misattune to their children on occasion, and these mistakes provide healthy opportunities to learn that ruptures in connection can be repaired. This type of parenting produces what is generally referred to as a secure attachment. Secure attachment provides the home base that allows a child to feel confident to explore their world. Healthy attachment is associated with the ability to learn emotional regulation and stress tolerance and the development of healthy boundaries. For example, if a mother and her 1-year-old child go to the park, the child will initially remain close to the mother for a short period of time and then run off to explore. The neglect and early child abuse that can accompany complex PTSD are not associated with a secure attachment. Years of research by Dr. John Bowlby and Dr. Mary Ainsworth identify patterns of insecure and anxious attachment styles. And I know that is a thing for sure, because like I can remember when I was with the guy that had 2 kids, he had a nonverbal child, and I could tell by the cry what was wrong. I could tell by the pitch or the tune, like if it was a stomach ache or a diaper rash, or if you had an earache, or like I could just tell, or if he's just mad because he didn't get what he wanted. And I also knew how to prevent those things from happening with him, because the guy that I was with was just, he wouldn't listen to anything that like the mother told him, and he wouldn't listen anyways, and it was like chaos when he would just do whatever he wanted to do. But sometimes you can't do that with a kid, and that kid specifically needed certain things, because normal things didn't work with this child. It was like, you give the child NyQuil, he was like on crack, and it was like, oh no. So he really needed different things and a different approach, and even just like not speaking to him was, and I get that, because like my dad speaks to me all the time, even just texting me, I'm like, I just need to be alone, like just shut up, please. I never say that, but I think it, because I'm like, oh my god, I just want to fucking relax. I don't want to talk about everything. And I think like autism is why he was nonverbal, is overstimulation. You don't want to chit chat. You don't want to talk about it. You just do the thing. Just do the thing, and I'll do my thing, and we'll all be cohabiting great. But when other people don't get that, it just fires you up even worse. It makes you feel even worse. So that can happen. Okay. But the insecure ambivalent is the child that has grown up with an inconsistent primary caregiver, who is at times highly responsive and perceptive, but can also be intrusive and invasive. The child cannot depend upon the caregiver for particular attunement and connection, and consequently develops uncertainty and anxiety. Insecure, ambivalent adults tend to feel overly dependent and suffer from abandonment anxiety, and overall sense that relationships are unreliable. It's funny because I mentioned my dad, right? He's the same way though. Like if he's not in the mood to chit chat, like there's been plenty of times I send messages, they just go unanswered. But like when he's in the mood to chit chat, he's and I feel bad not to, Insecure avoidant is the other one, and that's a child that grew up with a distant or disengaged caregiver who is repeatedly emotionally unavailable and rejecting. As a result, this child adapts by avoiding closeness, disconnecting emotionally, and becoming overly self-reliant. Insecure avoidant adults tend to have grown up to be dismissive of their own and other people's emotions, and face challenges when their partners long for a deeper, more intimate connection. My stepdad was like that type of energy. Like I saw him with my sister. She went to give him a hug, and he literally held her by her forehead back. And that's just how he was. And it's not just like a one-off event. It was like, no, don't touch me, never said I love you, things like that. He was not emotionally connected. Then there's disorganized. And that's the most disturbing attachment settings result in a disorganized attachment style. This child has grown up with a primary caregiver whose behavior is overwhelming, chaotic, and or abusive. The caregiver is a source of alarm and confusion, resulting in a paradox related to the child's biological drive to seek closeness from the very source of the terror that they are trying to escape. Mom, this is often referred to as fright without solution, an unsolvable dilemma for the child. Disorganized adults tend to rely upon impulsive or aggressive behaviors to manage uncomfortable emotions. Relationship interactions can mimic the abuse that they experienced during childhood with caregivers. They might act abusive themselves or choose abusive partners because it feels familiar. CPTSD is associated with all of these attachment styles. Okay? In practice, which of the previous contributing factors of CPTSD might you say you relate to in your life? So basically, which of the attachment styles do you feel like the insecure ambivalent, the insecure avoidant, or the disorganized? I'm disorganized because I got the best of both worlds. So if you're like torn between it, you're like, I don't know, you probably got them all. And that would come from like, you know, a chaotic 11:11 on the clock, a chaotic environment growing up, like, you know, and it was even inconsistent in that because my mom never hit my sisters, but she like took me by the neck one day up against the wall and like it traumatized them secondhand. They were like, oh shit, we're never gonna do nothing bad because she's gonna kill us. And that was another reason why my sister, I can't believe Bridget's still alive, because I got the brunt of things. There was times that like I did stuff wrong and my sister was like, oh my god, she's gonna die because I did something wrong. She assumed they were gonna kill me. I remember one time, I don't even know what I did, but I was downstairs still. This is when I lived in the downstairs bedroom, and I locked my door and they were trying to get in, but I locked it and I was like sitting there with my feet against it. They came around to the porch and opened the window and came through the window to get me, and it was like just a traumatic moment because I knew they were coming to get me, like to hit me, and I was like, no. So they came through the window and got me anyway. But you know, I feel like my disorganized one also comes about because not only did I have my mom and my dad, but then I got my stepmom and a stepdad, and they were a whole other ball game of, you know, shit show. Like, none of them are having healthy attachment styles, which is just a result of them growing up with unhealthy parenting. Like, nobody here is the bad guy. It's just a fucking thing. It keeps going until we're like, no, look, hey, look, we can figure this out. We don't have to keep doing this. We don't have to live this way, you know. And the disorganized ones are usually the ones that actually are like, you know what, let's figure this out because this is a problem. Like it said, you become aware of there's a fucking issue here. Like the kid is the parenting situation, or the cool, calm, collected one in the circumstance. Also, you may do this out of the search of love, you know, like knowing like this isn't gonna work. I can't have a healthy husband or children or anything like this. So you start to look for the answers, and you can heal. You can heal anything. It's not a lifelong sentence of you're screwed, and it doesn't mean that you will always have to be, you know, living in the state that you're currently in. You can change anything that's going on, but you have to want to, and then you have to research it a little bit, do the little deep dives into it, and yeah. So hopefully this helps you, and thank you very much. We have the 11 portals opening up, and this month is going to be the Palladian lineup from 11/15 to the 20th. Always a potent time for the year. I did that $27 thingy, right? And I got paid $721, and I got the 27 check. I mean the 27 hours before that. However, right, I did that thing, and at that time I had a bank account with $700 negative. Now today I looked, and my account had two separate $700 balances because with Chime you get like a credit builder account and then a regular checking account. So I opted to have all of my direct deposits go to the credit builder one, and then anytime I use it, it's like I'm building credit. So today when I looked at it, it was like 780, 700 something, I think 90, ba-ba-ba-da-boop, up here. And I was like, oh my god, I've doubled from negative, and it was 1444, negative 700 to two 700s. And money kept coming in too. So like as I'm sending out orders, money's coming in. It's good, it's working. the abundance candles are working, the manifesting working. The dollar thing I posted on here, it was like how to increase your dollar 27-fold. So it wasn't that long ago, but I would do it, and I'm gonna petition again at the new moon for more abundance. And I just made another abundance candle tonight for myself because I had to overpour one that I was making. So yay, good for me. Got more money coming in. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. In Namaste.